Whether you're new to mixing or you've been mixing for a while, this is the 3-step plan I would follow if I was starting to mix today. The third step was actually a game changer, and it still is today. Hey, welcome my friend. Just so you know, this video is sponsored by the Mixdown Academy, which is basically my own platform. And I'm actually reopening the doors to the Mixdown coaching community, which is also known as MCC. So more on that later. Now for the 3-step plan, step number 1 is learning. Since you're here on YouTube watching this video, chances are you're looking to learn something. And that's the cool thing about a platform like YouTube, where lots of learning videos are available. And when it comes to mixing videos, there is plenty. There's lots of my channel and there's lots of other amazing channels. And this is actually a very good way to learn about mixing and increase our mixing skills. Back in 2002, when I started mixing, YouTube wasn't a thing. There was no way I can use a video platform like YouTube to learn stuff about mixing. The only resources I had in front of me were books and on-site educational programs. And this is the route I took when I started mixing, which was great, but nothing else was available elsewhere. So YouTube is a great resource to learn about mixing. Premium online courses are amazing also. I have some available on the Mixdown Academy, and this is a good way to learn about all sorts of different mixing techniques and how to improve your mixing skills. Another important aspect of learning is to know your DAW, the DAW you work with, inside out. If you work with Cubase, learn Cubase from in and out. Same if you're using Pro Tools, Studio One, or another DAW, learn it. Learn how to record with it, to produce, to mix, to master. Just learn the DAW. Same for the plugins. Knowing the plugins you work with inside your DAW is a very good way to learn about mixing and to learn how to use those tools without being distracted by fancy, expensive plugins. That will come later on. So start by learning everything that your DAW has to offer, and then you can jump on more expensive gear, plugins, and so on. Learning from a pro mixing engineer is also a very good way to increase and improve your mixing skills. So that's why in the Mixdown coaching community, I made available lots of exclusive mix breakdown videos where I share my mixing techniques straight from a pro mixing session, mixing my own music and also music I mixed for clients. So getting behind the scenes straight from a pro mixing session is always a good way to grow and to learn about mixing. Okay, learning is very important. But if you're only spending your time watching YouTube videos or online courses and you don't take the time to put on the work and to practice your skills, at this point, learning will not bring you that far. You will know lots of stuff, but you won't be able to implement it in a real mixing situation. I don't know if you learn about the 10,000 hour rule, which states that it takes 10,000 hours to master a skill. Now, some will debate on this, but the point is to take the time to master your skills by balancing the time between learning stuff and putting what you learned into practice. And this is where you are gonna start growing your mixing skills. By trying stuff up, actually failing, which is part of the process and journey, which is actually gonna make you a better mixer on the long run. But for that, you need to take the time to sit down in front of your DAW, import tracks, and mix. And the more you mix, the better you'll get. Back in 2002, when I started mixing, that was a challenge to get access to multitracks that I could work with at the time to practice my mixes. The only way I had back then to practice my mixing skills was to record my own music and mix it, or to get clients to mix their music. And that is not always the easy way. Now, I was able to build my business back then by offering mixing services and slowly building a small client base. And I also wrote the music of my own and tried to mix those the best I could at the time. But this is not always a practical way for many. It's not everyone that will be able to produce, record, and mix their own music on a regular basis. And building a client base will take a certain amount of time, which is great. But by the meantime, if you need to practice your mixing skills, downloading free multitracks is an amazing way to learn. Now, you can download multitracks from some YouTube channels out there. There's also websites where you can download multitracks and practice your mixing skills. So that's why why I have several multi-track sessions available through MCC for you to practice and improve your mixing skills. A very cool way you can also practice your mixing skills is by getting out of your comfort zone, by challenging yourself to mix with limitations. This is a great way to learn. For example, in MCC, we did a few challenges so far, and I actually talked about that challenge we worked on one of my last videos. And it was all about mixing a multi-track recording without the use of any plugins. And it's not as easy as you might think. Another challenge we did was to mix a full song using only 5 specific plugins. They were free plugins or the equivalent within Cubase, but limited to only those plugins. And that was also very challenging. So try this on your own, create yourself some mixing challenges. Go and download a multi-track session and start practicing with limitations. It's quite cool and interesting, and a very good way to improve your mixing skills. And if you actually did this type of exercise before, let me know in the comment section what kind of challenge you did. Now for the third step, we're talking about mentorship and community. A lot of us are working from our home studio in front of a computer by ourselves. So that can have lots of advantages, but it also has lots of negatives, like overthinking and second guessing yourself all the time, never know if your mixes sound good or not, having a hard time to know if you're actually improving your mixing skills, getting stuck by doing the same things over and over again, hard ways to get your questions answered, no feedback on your mixes, no one to collaborate with. So there's lots of negative aspects on working by yourself and be lonely. Now on my side, when I started mixing, that was actually a challenge, but I was lucky enough to work with a good friend of mine who was a mastering engineer at the time, which I hired to be a mastering engineer on the first gig I worked on, which was the production of a live album. I was so happy to get that first paid music production gig that I didn't take any chances to mix the album myself, and I hired my friend that was a pro mixing and mastering engineer to mix the album, and I was able to attend the mixing session, and I learned a lot, and that gig brought me other gigs afterwards. And the second time around, I was the one mixing the album without lots of experience, but, and this is the magic here, I had my friend to be my mixing mentor, and that is huge. And he was also the one mastering my mixes, so that was even better. So I had direct access to a mentor to listen to my mixes and to give me feedback. And man, did I learn a lot. That was actually a game changer for me. There's so much you can learn by getting feedback from a professional mixer. So this is something that I encourage you to do. If you know someone who has experience and knows what he's talking about, that can give you some feedback on your mixes and be your mentor, I'm telling you, you will grow and improve your mixing skills like never before. And even today, I have mixing engineer friends that I can send a mix to and get feedback, and vice versa. We kind of help each other out, and I'm still getting a lot from doing so. And finding a pro mixing mentor can be very challenging for a lot. So that's why mentorship and community is a huge part of the Mixdown coaching community. Twice a month, I jump on a live stream listening to the mixes of MCC members and give them my mixing feedbacks. And I'm not alone. I also have a team with me. So if you're a home studio musician who is seeking mentorship, guidance, community to bring your mixing skills to the next level, you have to check the Mixdown coaching community. Inside MCC, you will find a private community forum where you can connect with MCC members, create relationships, help each other out, collaborate together, which is a very good way to make music production friends. And there's also exclusive training videos, exclusive mix and production breakdown videos, mix challenges like I talked before to level up your mixing skills, free multi-tracks to download so you can improve your mixing skills, and of course live mix feedback and Q&A sessions twice a month. All replays are available, so check it out. The doors are open for a few days only by following the link in the description down below. And if you're watching this video at a later time, you can click on the same link and jump on the waiting list. So to sum up the 3 important steps that I would use if I was starting mixing today are learning, practicing, and mentorship. So I'm gonna challenge you to implement these steps in your mixing journey. Hope that helps. Until next time, take care and see you.